Hello and welcome back to the second episode of the Northside Dugout. I'm your host, Ideal, joined alongside with my co-host, Throne C. What's going on?
What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning back in to see us on the Northside Dugout. Me and the broski, Ideal. We appreciate y'all.
Yes, the Northside Dugout is brought to you by the fine people over at the Dugout in collaboration with Shy Native Entertainment. The Cubs and Cardinals series was supposed to take place this weekend. Unfortunately, due to COVID reasons, as it has been canceled.
Wah, wah, wah. Apparently, more players have tested positive for COVID. So they're taking the necessary precautions because it wouldn't be ethical or safe to have everybody around. So we're not going to have any baseball now until Tuesday.
Tuesday when they travel to Cleveland to take on the Indians. You know, interesting side note, see, in order for the Cardinals to play their full 60-game season, they will have to play 55 games in 49 days.
No days off for them, that's for sure.
No, the last team to play that many games in that little amount of days was the 1975 Minnesota Twins. Alas, the Cubs are sitting at the top of the National League Central with an impressive record of 10-3. I'd like to take a look at how they got there. Is that fine, C?
Let's do it.
Yes, after taking 2 out of 3 from the Milwaukee Brewers, the Cubs traveled to Cincinnati to take on the Reds. Game 1 matchup was John Lester versus Wade Miley. The Cubs absolutely jumped all over Miley, chasing him after only an inning and 2/3, and he gave up 6 runs.
Phenomenal. The bullpen were like, get him out of there.
Lester pitched 5 innings of no-hit ball after leaving and departing from the game. 5 relievers worked through the 6th all the way through the 8th as the Reds went ahead and scored 5 runs, making this game closer than it needed to be. And that ultimately created a save situation for Craig Kimbrell, or as I like to call him, Craig Crumble. And he looked terrible again.
He definitely crumbled out there. That's for sure.
He just continued. He's picked up where he left off from last season. And fortunately enough, the Cubs were able to eke out an 8-7 victory despite the bullpen's best efforts of trying to give away that game.
The sabotaging inadvertently that went on.
Gold star goes to Jeremy Jeffress for coming through and bailing out Kimbrell and the Cubs and allowing them to leave with the victory. Game 2, we saw Alex Mills taking the mound for the Cubs, and for me, this was the Javi Baez show. See, he made an impact with his bat, his legs, and his glove. Baez hit 2 home runs, had a spectacular slide at home base. I remember if you saw that when we saw it out back.
He's just so smooth with it. I mean, every time you see this man, I'm like, Javi, you're doing extra, but it's just him, and he absolutely loves what he does, and it shows, and it's just fun to watch him play. It really is. I mean, the things he does, though, sometimes, I mean, his demeanor overall, it's a good show. It's the Javi Baez show sometimes, and I'm all for it, and then his chains.
There was speaking of smooth plays, there was a sharply hit ball into the deep between shortstop and third base. He was able to range deep into almost the outfield grass and able to throw a strike to Rizzo. StatsCats had that over at 83.1 miles per hour. So he had an opportunity to show off his impressive arm.
I mean, I don't know, whatever he does, it's always like sprinkled with a little bit of magic in there, Mr. Baez. Keep it up, man.
He is known as El Mago, so it is the aptly named El Mago. Javi Baez showing out in Game 2, the Cubs leading with another victory. Game 3, we saw Kyle Hendricks matched up against Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray was dominant on the mound for the Reds and took a no-hitter into the 5th inning, see? He also struck out 11 batters over 6 2/3 innings while allowing 2 earned runs and just 1 hit. Cubs didn't go down quietly. At least that's what I liked.
Yeah, they did it. I mean, they the first couple innings they weren't there, but they did come back toward the end. They were fighting, and that's always a good thing. I didn't think they were gonna get even as many runs as they did. So for them to get the 7 in the amount of time that they went after it, like you said, that was a really good fight for them.
Game 4 of that series was ultimately scratched due to rain and has been rescheduled as part of a doubleheader on August 29th. Funny thing out there, doubleheaders. How many innings are there?
They're only going for 7.
You're not a big fan of that?
I'm not. It's so awkward. I mean, I don't know if it's because we're accustomed to 9 innings and we've been watching baseball forever and that's just what we know it as. But it just seems so odd. And it's like, I don't think, I feel like those extra 2 innings can give you a real opportunity to change the game around if you need it. 7, it seems like it's just going to be way too short.
Well, they're gonna have to get creative this year. It's not a normal year.
It isn't. I mean, nothing's normal about it. I think in sports in general, all around in all areas, it's been quite complicated for them to navigate it.
Mm-hmm. After taking 2 out of 1 from the 2 out of 3 actually from the Reds, they went ahead and started a series against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Game 1, Yu Darvish was impressive in the start.
Finally.
He lasted 6 shutout innings against the Pirates. He struck out 7. He only just gave up 2 singles and just gave up 1 walk, also hitting 98 on the gun. So he was looking really dominant that day, and that's what the Cubs hope to see continued from Yu Darvish.
Yeah, he went 6 whole innings, so I was happy to see that, and he really did work at it.
Yeah, he did, yeah. Kimbrel came in again. It was the closer in the 9th inning and allowed back-to-back homers to Bell and Colin Moran. I think I had commented to you at one point, I'm like, this dude is only throwing 4 pitches and is giving up 2 home runs.
They were definitely able to work off of him. It was giving him away.
He ultimately got out of the inning, and the Cubs won 6-3. But the 2 home runs and the 3 outs that the Pirates recorded in that inning, they all had an exit velocity of over 100 miles per hour.
That's insane.
That means you're not really fooling them.
No, they see what's coming and they're hitting it. I mean, I don't know. Kimbrel is continuing to do what you've often said.
Yeah, Crumble. He's looking like
that's it.
Craig Crumble. Moving along to game 2, Tyler Chatwood was dominant, going 6 2/3 with 3 hits and 11 Ks. I don't know if you noticed so far, it seems it's a trend starting. The starting rotation is really doing a lot of heavy lifting right now so far early in the season.
They really are. I mean, every game that they've come out with, they're starting. We've dominated.
For the most part.
yes.
Yeah, the Cubs were powered by an Ian Happ and Javi Baez solo shots, along with a 2-run home run from Kyle Schwarber, and they were able to take the game 4-3. Jeffress came up big again, helping the Cubs get out of a jam. I've been surprised so far with Jeremy Jeffress out of the bullpen, and it's been a pleasant surprise because he's certainly picked up the slack for a couple of his teammates.
Yeah, he has. I've really watched him get in there and do what we want him to do. Close him out. Mm-hmm. So it's been working so far. I like it. I dig it.
Yeah, game 3, we ended up seeing John Lester again. He was strong with 6 innings pitched, giving up 4 hits while only giving up 1 earned run and striking out 4. Baez walk-off in the 11th inning, but there was a lot of huge defensive plays in the game. I remember Kyle Schwarber's put out from left field when he threw the guy out at home, and Contreras was there to make the tag. In a 2-1 game like that, there has to be a lot of defensive plays.
Can I just mention quickly Contreras though? The way he is when when he's either knows the ball's coming to him, or sometimes when the ball fumbles and he has to drop down to get it, and he's so animated. He's another one. I like watching him. He's always like, his eyes are big and like he's ready to throw it to outer space. And I'm like, calm down.
Yeah, after that, the Cubs went ahead and traveled back to Wrigley Field, where they took on the Kansas City Royals for a quick 2-game homestand against them, I guess is what you would call it. Alex Mills looked sharp again. He pitched 7 innings while giving up just 3 hits and striking out 4, and at the time lowered the Cubs' rotation ERA to 1.95.
Wow.
In 60 combined innings through 10 games. And I think the thing that's really helping Alex Mills right now is just the different levels and tiers of velocity in which he's able to work. His fastball, his 4-seamer, and his sinker average about 89, 91. So you put it in the 90 range, while he's got a slider and changeup that lands about 78 to 80. So now you got the 80 range going on. Then he also has a slow curveball, which is anywhere from 64 to 67 miles per hour, which as a hitter, you don't know what speed's coming at you. It's really easy to keep someone off balance in a lineup like that.
Yeah, I was about to say his pitches are all over, so you're not going to know what you're going to get, especially now when it's lower like that, right? You're saying 60?
What happened?
When you're saying that the pitch is that when he's pitching at 60
miles per hour.
Yeah, how does that affect you versus it being super fast?
Well, you have to be able to be ready to hit the fastball, but then you can get ahead of the ball and be way ahead of the pitch.
I dig it. I've seen it. I know that. I like when a lot of the pitches come, and we're sitting watching the game, right? And we're like, oh, we seen it sink down, and then when they'll try to hit it, and then they're kind of like, oh, I don't know what happened, and they kind of get upset when they strike out. You're like, that's what I want.
Yeah, after that, they handed the ball over to Casey Sadler, and Roan Wick came in and picked up a 4-out save, which was impressive. Chris Bryant hit a home run in the 8th inning to give the Cubs an insurance run, and they ultimately won 2-0. But again, I like the simple fact that this game, they didn't do it with just, obviously the long balls. You had to play defense in a game like this. Defense was huge. David Bodie made a handful of magnificent highlight reel-worthy plays at third base tonight, and that was the night as well as where Javi had his tag. Where he says he practices that.
I practiced this, man. Yes, that was a phenomenal tech.
Yes. So, according to StatCast, Mondesi hit a speed of 28.9 feet per second on his run to second. Contreras released an 83.1 mile per hour fast pit throw in exchange of 0.8 seconds. When he hopped out of his stance, it was quick as all get up. But Javi, being the magician that he is, let the ball travel into his body. And then the one thing that no one talks about is how fearless he has to be to sit there as the guy's barreling down the line, coming into second base, to be willing to put your body there, allow the ball to travel, and make the tag all in one play. Impressive all around.
That's why he gets the job done.
Yeah. Game 2, Kyle Hendricks pitched 7 innings, giving up 7 hits while giving up 2 runs while striking out 3. The Cubs won 5-4, powered by a Jason Hayward 2-run home run. Nice to see Hayward make a little strong contact.
Yeah, I like that. I was like, okay, Hayward, we see you. Finally, thank you.
Yeah, with Hendricks' strong showing, the Cubs' rotation improved to 8-2 with a 2.01 ERA in the season. In the combined 67 combined innings, Hendricks, Darvish, Chatwood, Lester, and Mills have held opposing batters to a 1.68 average with 58 strikeouts and 40 hits allowed. Jeremy Jeffress came in. Kimbrel came in as well, and then Ryan closed it out. Again, Kimbrel had a little bit of issue and needed a helping hand from a friend, but the Cubs nonetheless were able to walk away with a 5-4 win. Game 3, they had Yu Darvish again pitching 7 dominant innings. He gave up 5 hits with 1 earned run and 4 Ks. There was a huge play, if you remember, David Bodie with the double play where he stepped on second while catching it and throwing the first. And after that, helping get Darvish out of a jam, Darvish really settled into a groove from there. According
I picked up Darvish.
Yeah, according to Fangraphs, the Cubs have already had 15 defensive saved runs this season going into Wednesday's game. A year ago, Chicago had -7. So
trending upward. That's always good.
Yeah, and if you recall, the last time in 2016 when they were special, the defense was all-time special. So hopefully this trend just keeps coming back up. There was one interesting thing that I wanted to talk about. It was the fact Baez had a moment of, I guess, lack of awareness, to say the better sense of the word, and didn't run a ball down to out of the box hard. And then ultimately, Contreras hit into a double play, was able to get the run ahead, and the Cubs are up 2-1. But that's an instance where you'd like to see him run that out. Never make assumptions. But the best part that I liked about it was David Ross having his back.
Yeah, when they asked him, and it was after the game in the interview, they asked him, "Are you going to say something? Was that something you'll bring up?" And his answer was like, "No."
Now, I absolutely loved his answer. He realizes, like he said, nobody plays harder than Javi.
And nobody's going to be in Javi's head more than Javi himself about that and thinking what to do and how to correct it. So it was a really good answer. And to, like you said, to have his back and say, I know my players and I know what they're going to do. I don't need to go over there and talk about it or tell him what he should have done.
And I think that's a perfect place to segue into, because obviously the next game, which took place on Thursday, was a total wash. Chatwood didn't look good, but I don't think we need to dive too much into that. There's part of me that thinks, Chatwood, is this the Chatwood that we're more likely to see than the other Chatwood that's been so far dominant in the beginning of the season? I would like to say the only one main difference is when Chatwood had problems in the previous years, it was with his control. This time, he just wasn't missing bats. And I like to think maybe just chalk it up as one bad game and you move along.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Everyone's not going to always be hot and be ready. Sometimes it just is the way it is. And all players have always said, today just wasn't my day. So moving forward, all we can do is hope for the best. He, analyze to see what he did and work on it.
Here's the thing I wanted to get into then, going from the Baez Ross thing, is it looks like to me there's a little bit more excitement around the club when you're watching the games.
I definitely noticed it way more now that we've gone through the last couple series with these guys. The bullpen is excited. I mean, when you see them hitting, they're all jumping up now. They're not just somber on the sidelines, because the first couple games they weren't really showing any type of emotion, and now you see them like laughing and smiling and joking, but the camaraderie is there again. And the one thing that's so important is when you have that, it really changes the way the game is played and how you guys play as a team, because everyone is contributing, everyone feels good, everyone's hot, ready to go, and this is how you continue to get these W's.
And as we're here at 10-3, looking good in the driver's seat.
Looking very good.
The only cause for concern so far, I think, would be the issues with the bullpen, and I think they've established themselves so far in the beginning of the season. They got off to an excellent start. This is what you want this year. And they look like they will be in a position to be buyers come the trade deadline, and more than likely look to bolster that bullpen with another arm.
Yes.
There's also another option available. I don't know, like Jose Quintana coming in, and maybe after he comes back from his injury stick, coming in there and giving you another arm, because I wouldn't want to go ahead and disrupt this starting rotation the way they've been pitching so far.
No, I wouldn't either. I mean, it's been working.
So that's that. I think I wanted to ask you, who so far has been one of the biggest surprises to you that's exceeded your expectations?
I would say it would have to be Jeffress, the pitcher. I know you've talked about him before. We weren't overly excited. He didn't show us too much, but he's come in when we've needed him and done exactly what we needed to do. Close it, strike him out, and get the game over. And he's done it.
I think the obvious biggest disappointment, I don't know if it's
considering
where how he looked last year, but it's got to be Craig Kimbrel. Kimball. I don't know. I'll get your name right.
Kimbrel.
Craig Kimbrel.
Yeah, I was going to say that has to be. He comes up to the pitcher's mound. I'm like, oh no. And that's the worst thing to do though, when you someone on your team is coming up to the mound. That's not what you want to say. You don't want to be, oh, here goes the game. We're about to, get a bunch of scores run. Nobody wants to see that.
Currently has the highest exit velocity in all the major leagues, with guys averaging over 100 miles per hour on exit velocity. So it's safe to say his mechanics are out of whack, and he's lost the effectiveness with his curveball. I mean, they literally are not swinging at it. He's thrown it 23 times, and they've never even lifted their bat. So now they're just basically sitting on a fastball that doesn't have as much life anymore, and he's not able to locate it, and it's going over the heart of the plate too many times. And at this level, guys are going to make you pay for those mistakes.
Oh, yeah, by hitting those home runs.
So it'll be something to cause for concern and something to look forward to. But this is the wrap-up after 13 games. The Cubs are at 10-3. I know for myself, I can't be more excited. Go boys in blue, the Cubbies out there on the north side. See, you got anything to say?
I'm loving the games. I love watching it. The excitement's there always. I'm loving the camaraderie again, and I'm loving that they're in there. It seems like they're in their groove, and that's always a good thing because it makes the game so much more exciting. Mm-hmm. Especially just seeing them happy and enjoying themselves. Moves the game along, and I'm here for it. So unfortunately, we won't see a game until Tuesday, but it is what it is.
Yes, and we'll see you till then. This is episode 2. I'm Ideal, joined along with Throne C, and this is the Northside Dugout. We'll catch y'all later.
Thanks for watching. Bye.